I decided to leave my Instagram account, which at the time had around 20,000 followers, in December 2020, and I have not been back since. So in these 2 years, almost 2 years, I have experienced so many beautiful changes in my life. And if you're intrigued as to why I made that decision in the first place and what benefits I have received from making that decision, then this is just the video for you. So I first joined Instagram, and in this video I will primarily be talking about my journey with Instagram because that is the platform that I spent most time on, the platform that really took a hold of me. But I believe that what I have to say also applies to all kinds of other social media platforms, because in essence they all pretty much work through the same mechanisms. And for some time I was also on Facebook or Snapchat, and I saw the same kind of patterns emerging in me. So anyways, when I first joined Instagram, I was about 14 years old. And I vividly remember how one of the first times that I was using the app, I was glued to my phone for hours. It was just so juicy, you know, like seeing all these beautiful people and bikini pictures and fitness videos and recipe inspirations and whatnot. And yeah, I was just pulled in. And back then, that didn't really bother me. It was just something I did for entertainment. And then at first I was just, you know, posting a selfie here and there. Didn't have many followers. It was not that big of a deal. But over time, because I'm a dancer, I love to dance. I've been dancing, I think, for 11, 12 years. I started posting my own dance videos. And turns out people liked them. I started gaining more and more and more followers, started collaborating with other dancers, and that was a great thing about the platform. It really helped me to link up with people in the dance community, link up with people who I had adored for years, learn from them, go to workshops, find out about events, being motivated by seeing what other people were posting, new dance moves from all over the world. It was just a great tool as a dancer. And so with every dance video I posted, with every challenge I took part in, my following grew. Later, I also used the platform to speak up about things that really matter to me, and to share resources, and to also learn about different kinds of social justice issues and the environment. And so it became a place where I could share my arts, where I could connect with people, where I could be inspired, where I could learn, and also still a place of entertainment and fun. But as motivating and rewarding and fun as it was, I also started noticing some downsides pretty soon. So I would often notice that after one of my endless scrolling sessions, I would just generally feel kind of down or weird. I noticed that I would start comparing myself to others. I noticed that I felt a pressure to always keep up and keep posting and keep delivering to these 20,000 people who were apparently watching me. And when iPhone introduced this feature that you could start seeing how much time you actually spent on your phone and on different apps, I was purely shocked by how much time I spent on this little app on my phone. So I usually took a break from Instagram during the summer. Even when I was way younger, I think something in me already knew something about this is not too good for me. So sometimes I would just leave my phone at home. When we went on vacation, I would just leave my phone there and have a great time. But there was always still an element of, ooh, how many likes am I getting? Is someone new following me? Or spending the whole summer creating content, creating videos, so that I could immediately, once I get back, deliver content again. And so even when I was away from it, somehow I was still mentally trapped in it. And then I read a book called Deep Work by Cal Newport. And that book was really a game changer for me, because he explains how right now we live in a world where people are pretty much constantly distracted. So we are on these apps, we're constantly seeking for more entertainment, more likes, more superficial connection, more. And in that process, we have forgotten how to just sit down and be with ourselves, and sit down and focus on one thing at a time, and concentrate, and even be bored. You know, boredom to us sounds like a negative thing, but actually it's a necessary thing, because when you're bored and when you're in solitude and just with yourself, you have to confront what is going on within you, and you have the space to think about what really matters to you, and to think about what is going on around you. And he says that this kind of focus and solitude and concentration is needed if you want to build a life that is meaningful for yourself and for those around you. And he's really an advocate for getting off social media. And in his book, he proposes to do 30 days without social media. Don't announce it to anyone, just leave for 30 days and see what happens. So that kind of planted a seed. And I also read a book called The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. And that book, wow, if there's one book I can recommend to you, it is this one. Because that book showed me how much I live up here, and how much I live in the things that have already happened, and the things that might happen and that I'm worried about, and the perceptions of other people, and what I'm supposed to do, and expectations of myself, and all these things, instead of being here, right here, in the present moments. So another seed had been planted. So then finally I decided to take 30 days off together with a friend. We kind of made it a challenge for ourselves and wanted to notice how it would change things for us. And I loved it. I just felt so great during that month. And somehow I still didn't see completely leaving as an option. So after the month I went back. And I was uncomfortable, because after having been away for a month and then coming back and seeing how there's so much ego and like people just presenting themselves, presenting only the best parts of themselves, being so harsh towards other people, dragging other people, all the drama, like it just felt too much. And compared to the peace I had experienced during the month beforehand, I just felt something didn't feel right. So I was there for a bit longer. I was still posting here and there, but something had changed. And then there was one day that I specifically remember where I had recorded a video of me dancing, and I kept editing it for hours and hours and hours trying to pick only the very best parts and put them next to each other and edit out everything that I thought wasn't perfect enough. And then after all, ended up posting the original version, and then started stressing about how it wasn't getting enough likes, and then deleted it again. And then I just sat down and I thought to myself, I am going insane. What am I doing? This makes no sense. I don't want to spend my time like this. I don't want to spend hours every day creating this persona that doesn't even represent who I am truthfully, and then having to keep up with the pressure of that. So shortly after, I watched some videos of people who had quit social media, and it became absolutely clear for me that that was what I also had to do. There was no doubt, it just felt right. So I made the decision and I deactivated my Instagram account. I didn't delete it because I wanted to keep the option of potentially using it again in the future open, because who knows. But I deactivated it and I said, okay, 1 year, I'm gonna try 1 whole year. And then after that year, it just felt so nice that I just naturally kept going. And now I want to share with you what I have gained ever since then. The number one thing that I have gained is time. I now literally have 1 to 3 more hours every single day that I can use to do the things that I actually love and that actually matter to me. I can read more, I can dance more, I can do yoga, meditate, be in nature, be with the people I love, cook new recipes. I can finally do all the things that I want to do. Not that I couldn't do them before, of course I could, but it was just so much easier to default to grabbing my phone and scrolling and being entertained. But now that I don't have that option, it's much more easy for me to actually go and do the things that I want to do. Secondly, I have gained a lot of tranquility. In everyday life, I just feel more calm, like there's more space in my head. It just feels like a big sigh, relieving, just very gentle, very calm. Then something I touched on earlier, which I longed for, was to be present in my life. And I do feel that's always a journey, sometimes more, sometimes less. But I do feel like getting off social media really helped me to be that, to be here, so that when I'm studying, I'm actually studying. If I am talking to a friend, I'm really there with them. If I am cleaning the dishes, I'm doing just that. And this definitely doesn't only have to do with social media. I also have meditated more in the past 2 years, but social media definitely helps with that. When you're not constantly in the cycle of there's a little bit of boredom, you reach for your phone, you get that quick gratification, or like you're always thinking about the next post or the next message that someone is sending you, or what reaction your post will get, or whatever it is. When all of that is gone, you just have more focus and concentration. Then getting out of this cycle of more, bigger, better, stronger, which is pretty much, I feel, the motto on social media and what will get the views and the likes and what keeps you scrolling, always wanting to see something interesting and intriguing and more shocking. Once I got out of that, it helped me to have more gratitude for and enjoyment in the simple pleasures in life. Like, I am now much better able to look at a flower or eat a meal and really be like, wow, this is so beautiful, or this is so tasty, or to give a hug and to really just take it in and be so grateful and so thankful for these little things in life. I also think that I gained more self-awareness, a better understanding of what is going on inside me. What am I feeling? What am I thinking? Why am I reacting to this in this way? Because again, I am not constantly distracted. I am not constantly inside other people's lives. I'm not constantly thinking about what to deliver next. I'm just here, and I have to face things as they come and investigate myself. I also feel like, whereas before I was often just going along with what the people in my social media bubble thought and did, I now have a better feeling for what I genuinely want, believe in, feel comfortable with. I also feel like I am now better able to be with myself and to enjoy my own company. Because before, okay, I would be by myself at home, but somehow not really, because I'm still always in somebody else's life somehow, or commenting on something, or receiving a comment, or sending memes here and there. And so there's always still that bit of distraction from yourself. Whereas again, if you don't have that, then you really have to sit with yourself. And at first that's a bit uncomfortable, but over time you learn to enjoy it. And that's a nice thing, because it helped me to figure out the difference between, am I contacting this person because I genuinely am interested in them and want to see them, or because I can't stand being alone, so I would rather be with anyone than have to be with myself. Getting off social media also helped me to focus on my own path and not feel rushed. Because I was following a lot of people who have accomplished great things and who are professionals in what they do, in the realm of dancing, but also in the realm of my other passion, which is psychology, therapy. And it always felt like I had to achieve everything quickly and just like them. And I was always comparing myself and feeling this pressure and this rush. And now I'm better able to just focus on what I'm doing at the time, which at the moment is finishing my studies. And yeah, letting things kind of have their natural flow, even if that means that things go a bit slower sometimes. I also feel like I've gained a new sense of beauty, which is more natural and timeless. And in line with that, I also have more appreciation for the kind of art and skill that takes time and patience to create and to learn, rather than this kind of quick hype and, I don't know, like mediocre stuff that is just like really attention grabbing. You know, kind of the more subtle, slow but deep knowledge and beauty. That sounds kind of vague, but maybe you get what I mean. And let me make very clear that I don't mean that everything has to be, like everything you share has to be perfect and outstanding. Not at all. Not at all. It's just that I think that there's a general trend on social media towards more, just quantity over quality, just delivering more stuff, where if you actually look at it, it's like, what's the purpose of this? During these 2 years, I also developed deeper connections with and more appreciation for a few but very precious people. So where before I was investing my energy into lots of different relatively superficial connections, I now have way more time and attention for the few people that I really, really care about. I am now better able to exchange respectfully with people who don't share my opinion, and I'm more open to ideas and people who are outside of the bubble that I was previously in. I think before I was much quicker to label someone based on one opinion I heard them say, or to not engage with that person anymore. But I now feel like that is exactly what we need to do if we want the world to move in a direction of more peace and understanding, to continue to conversate with the people who don't share our opinion. In the past 2 years, I have also experienced a greater appreciation for nature and a greater sense of awe and wonder, where I'm just like, oh my god, I'm alive. I'm alive in this universe. What? Like, I'm just stunned by a plant. Like, what are you? I'm more considerate of what I give out into the world and ask myself, like, for what purpose? Why am I saying this? Why am I doing this? What is my intention? And I think sometimes I can go too far, and that's not good either, to a point where I overthink everything. So I'm still figuring that out. But I do like the fact that I'm just more considerate of what I put out into the world. Then I also feel like I have the space to learn and reflect on something without feeling the need to immediately form and share my opinion on it. I'm also less exposed to like capitalist culture, basically people always wearing the newest outfits, promoting products, brands, and you know, people have to do what they have to do for a living, so I'm not judging them for doing that, but I felt like for me I didn't like the fact that I was constantly bombarded with advertisements, basically. I also love that I have more privacy and like invisibility now. The human being has not evolved to deal with so many people's judgments and opinions of you. Just in general, we haven't evolved to interact with the amount of people we interact with on social media. It's just too much. Hey son. Something I also do less now is kind of looking at myself through the eyes of other people. And also in line with that, there's no longer this constant seeking of praise from other people for what I do, and like external validation. It's still there, and it's not always bad. In fact, it's human. And of course it's nice to receive compliments for something you did, or a well done, or someone who just loves what you did. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're like me and constantly refreshing your feed, always just waiting for that next like, that next comment, then it's just gone too far. I'm less involved in other people's drama, and therefore have more time to just focus on my own life. I am now doing things for the sake of doing them. This is one of my favorite benefits. I'm not doing things for the sake of proving to someone that I can do this, or that I'm with this person right now, or whatever. I'm just doing it because I love doing it, I love the experience of it, and that's that. And last thing that I will mention today that I have gained from almost 2 years without social media is that overall I've had less days where I've just been in a bad mood because I spent hours scrolling on my phone and feeling like I just wasted so much of my time. 2 very important side notes. Number 1, the tendencies of perfectionism, comparing myself with others, insecurity, seeking external validation, being drawn towards rewarding kinds of stimulation. All of that already was within me before social media and still is within me even after getting off social media. So social media didn't create these tendencies within me, and I still have to confront them now in my everyday life. Other kinds of situations will trigger comparison with other people or whatever, and I still have to deal with that. So deleting social media won't just delete all those characteristics, but I do feel like social media really turns them up a notch. Like, it really turns up the volume and gets them to a level where it's much harder to deal with them. Side note number 2, not engaging with social media during these 2 years is not the only change that happened. I also meditated more, the pandemic happened, I met new people, I read different kinds of books, different podcasts. I just grew up as a person, and so I can't say for sure how much all of these changes are related to me deleting social media versus all the other factors. But I do think that not being on social media played a big role. And of course there are things that I miss. I miss knowing about which events are happening, which workshops are happening, because it turns out nowadays a lot of this kind of communication and advertisement happens via Instagram or other social media sites. I miss creating dance videos, sharing them, receiving feedback on them. I miss seeing the work of certain people who really inspire me and who happen to only post on Instagram rather than YouTube. By the way, we can also have a discussion about to what extent YouTube is a social media. I feel like it's a bit different because there's longer and also more educational content on here, but that's for another day. But yeah, so there are definitely things that I miss, but when it comes to that, I ask myself, do those things that I miss outweigh everything that I am gaining? And at the moment, for me, that's not the case. At the moment, I place more value on those things that I'm gaining. But it might not always be that way, you know. I'm keeping my options open. Who knows? Maybe at some point in the future, I will love to use Instagram as a tool once again. But let's see what happens. So if you've made it all the way here, then I suspect that there's something in you that yearns for a change, or that knows that something about this might be good for you. And I urge you to try it. You owe it to yourself to know who you are, what you like, what you believe in, what your potential is, without social media in your life. Especially if you are a younger person who has basically grown up with social media, you need to know, or at least me, I was just so interested to know, what am I like without this machine? Whether it's just a month or 3 or 6 or a whole year like I did, I can really recommend it. And if you do notice that you're better off with it in your life, then you can always go back. I don't think you have much to lose. So if you're waiting for a sign from the universe, this is it. And if you never try, you never know. So give it a try. Alright, so that was all from my side. If you enjoyed this video, if you found it helpful, please do give it a thumbs up and share it with the people that you care about. Maybe you can even do some sort of a no social media challenge together and exchange your experiences. And who knows, maybe you'll see some more content from me on here, maybe even some dance videos. Let's see what happens. Thank you very much for your time, and I will speak to you soon.